And basically what I have here today is a 2004 Volkswagen Golf that I'm having trouble with the stereo. I actually don't have any reception at any stations at all. So mainly what the common problem with these cars is that the antenna actually gets corroded, and you basically either have to replace it, or in my case I'm actually going to try to rebuild it to save some money. Now first off, what you want to do is remove this plastic trim that actually goes up here like so. Okay, as you can see, there's 3 clips in the center here, and a clip on each side that clips into the side pieces that go on the pillars. Okay, now I was able to pull this piece down by hand, but you may be able to use a screwdriver if you need a little extra leverage. Okay, after you have removed that piece, now there's this little clip here that actually holds the headliner in, right there. So after, what you want to do is just take simply a flat screwdriver and just put it in behind there and just pull it down. It's very simple. Okay, after you have that piece down, as you can see, it's very tight clearance in there. So what I did after was just to get a little extra. After, what you want to do is remove these seatbelt adjustments down all the way. Simply just push in and drag down. Okay, now after this you want to start pulling on the outside. And as you can see, there's a clip there, up there, and there's one further over there that you have to actually access by the door. It's a lot easier, I found. There's also one down there. Now as you can see, it just moves down just enough to get the headliner down just a little bit more, just for a little extra room. And as you can see, you do the same with the other side. Okay, after you've done all that, now it's pretty hard to see there, but where you can see that round part that's cut out, the antenna is actually right there. The bolt hangs down. Now I was able to use a 3/8 drive ratchet with a 22mm socket on there to remove this socket that actually goes on the bottom of the antenna base. Okay, after you've removed that, the antenna will be loose, and you're able to pull it out. Now there's a wire here that's actually, as you can see, it's clipped in along the back side there, so simply just pop it out of the black clip, and it's I had a little bit of a hard time getting out. You just have to apply a little extra force to it to pull it out, but it's not a big deal though. As you can see in the inside, it's also fairly corroded too, so I'll end up having to clean that and probably applying some dielectric grease to it before I put it back together. As you can see here, I disassembled my antenna on my 2004 Volkswagen Golf, and it was getting poor reception, so I wanted to see what the problem was. Instead of buying a new one, I'm going to try to rebuild it. Okay, as you can see here, there's a broken wire, and then the bottom aluminum piece is all corroded, and this hole here is where one screw went. This is the other side that actually broke out. Here's the 2 screws that actually hold it in. I was unable to get the screws out, so I was actually forced to use a flat screwdriver to pry it out of the this plastic housing here. And you can see there's a connection on top where it goes to the antenna, which connects to this spot right here. And here's the plastic gasket that goes around the bottom that goes to the roof of the car. And here's the actual antenna. And here's all the stuff that I scraped from the inside. Now as you can see here, this is the basic tools I used to pull apart the antenna. Okay, I tried to use a Phillips screwdriver, but obviously I couldn't get the screws out, so I was forced to use a flat screwdriver to pry the bottom part of the antenna out of the housing. Then I also used a pair of needle nose pliers and pliers to help get the screws out. While cleaning corrosion off the base plate and the circuit board, I actually did run into a slight problem. The piece of electronics actually broke off the circuit board, and instead of trying to replace it, what I did actually is got a short piece of wire about 2 inches long, and I soldered it to the end cap and soldered it to the stub that was sticking out. Now the end cap, as you can see, that's for the antenna. Now what you have to do is you're going to have to hold the soldering iron on there for a little while to actually get the end cap to heat up fully for the solder to stick to it. Okay. Now this is still working on a budget here, so I don't actually have to go out and buy a new one, and I have tested this, and it works excellent, surprisingly. Now what I'm going to do before I do put everything back together and pop the back of the headliner back in, is I want to, as you can see, it's hard to see on the camera here, but there is some corrosion inside there. Now I will clean that off. Now you could use Scotch-Brite or sandpaper, but the problem is that even the protective surface that's on there, if there's still some of it left on, the sandpaper or Scotch-Brite will actually remove that. So what I might do is I might try to clean it with some rubbing alcohol or a Q-tip or something like that. And then after, when I'm all done, I'll clean the one inside the car too. And I'll apply some dielectric grease to it to prevent any moisture and corrosion from occurring after. So last night I put everything back together, made sure everything fit well, and I applied silicone to the inside of it, and I also applied silicone to the outside of it here, as you can see, to prevent any water from getting in. And that's basically it. After, what I want to do is I just want to apply the gasket back on that goes between the antenna itself and the roof, and bolt everything back together, and it should be done.